Lost media is easily one of my favorite things to talk about on this channel. Quick reminder, if you don't know what lost media is, it's basically any form of media. It could be TV episodes, movies, videos, whatever it may be, that is just not accessible to the public. Nobody knows where it is, and if they do know where it might be, such as like a lost TV episode, it's likely locked up in the vault of whatever studio produced it, but the public cannot access it, the public has not seen it, or maybe they've seen it once, but it is just no longer found. That's what lost media is. You should probably know that by now, though. It's definitely been a little while since I've done a lost media video. If you've been following my channel for a little while, you know I've done 5 pieces I'd love to see, 5 lost games, then I did 6 darkest pieces of lost media. But now I'm doing a true follow-up to my very first video on lost media. But before I get into the main list, a couple things. First of all, an update actually to one of the pieces on the first video, specifically the last one I talked about, which was the sad story of Henry BBC live broadcast from 1953. As I said in that video, that is probably one of the most intriguing pieces of lost media that I personally am interested in. I'd love to see it. I was a big Thomas fan growing up, and that was the very first attempt at bringing Thomas to the small screen. Unfortunately, this broadcast is lost and very unlikely to ever be found. In the time since I made that video, though, they found this photo. They were going to do a couple of episodes, but they didn't get around to them after that first one went awry. That's James the Red Engine, who obviously you may remember from the Thomas Show we all know and love. Apparently this was released in some 100-year thing for the BBC, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, now we have an idea of what the very first attempt at bringing Thomas to TV looked like after all this time. Absolutely crazy that this was found. I was really shocked when I saw it. It was found like a few months ago and I just now discovered it, which is crazy. So if that photo exists, I'm hoping that maybe there are more, and while I still don't think the broadcast itself of the sad story of Henry will ever be discovered, at least we finally have something that tells us what this would have looked like. So I'm really happy about that. It's nice to have a follow-up to a piece of lost media that I talked about before. But with that, today I have 5 more pieces of lost media that I want to talk about with all of you. A reminder, these are 5 pieces that I would specifically like to see. There's tons of lost media, tons that I looked through in preparation for this video, but I narrowed it down to these 5 because I am interested in actually checking these out, if they're ever discovered. I want to thank the Lost Media Wiki once again. As I do in these lost media videos, they've got just a ton of information on all sorts of pieces of lost media. We're talking thousands. A lot of my research for this video came from some of the articles on there. So go on there, check out all the different lost media. They also have a Discord server, you're welcome to join it. If there is a piece of media that you remember, maybe from your childhood, can't find it anywhere on the internet, highly recommend you join that server, bring it to their attention. I think they also have a forum as well. I am all for the cause of discovering lost media. Mostly, there's some, like I said, dark pieces that maybe really shouldn't be found. But the ones on this list today are pretty lighthearted. I'm really excited to share them with all of you. Hey look, the sun's coming out. That's a good sign. So with that, let's just get right to it. These are 5 more pieces of lost media that I would love to see. In no particular order, these are just 5, it's not a ranking video. So starting out at number 1, we have the Me and My Friends pilot. So this is the lost live-action pilot to a Nickelodeon show that was going to be called Me and My Friends. This pilot was shot in 1998. Nickelodeon did pass on it, but the concept was reworked into an animated pilot for a show that eventually became The Backyardigans, a show I'm sure that many people my age remember fondly if they grew up with Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., Noggin. Man, those were the days. This was actually one of the first pieces of lost media. I don't know if it was the first, but it was among the first pieces of lost media that I discovered when I first learned about this concept of lost media. And as most of my favorite pieces of lost media go, it's an original version of something I remember from my childhood. So this was a live action pilot. All the characters from the Backyardigans TV show were in it, except for Austin the Kangaroo. And since it was a live action, all of the characters were portrayed by actors in suits. In the years since I found out about this one, plenty of photos have surfaced. They give you an idea about the size of the characters as well as the pilot's production. But otherwise, yeah, there's not much out there in the way of video except for this one 3-second clip, which is so short, I'm just repeating it a few times. This is not edited, this is literally all of the video that exists for this pilot. So I'm just playing it, take it in, really look at this, just really look at it. So this clip came from a compilation video that was created by former Nickelodeon Studios employees around the year 2000. You know, I suppose this is a good time to say that lost media in general, it has this creepiness to it. You know, likely because of the mere fact that it's lost, you know, that fear of the unknown, the fear of uncertainty. I think that's why people get so immersed in lost media, especially those darker pieces. Like, it's not something they want to see, but just the fact that it's not out there Your imagination does all the work, and it has this unnerving element to it. Even some lighthearted pieces like A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants or this pilot. And I know I'm not the only one that finds this pilot, or what's out there of it, just a little bit unnerving, and I think I know why. Besides the fact that it's lost media, we're so used to seeing these characters in animation that it's just weird to see them move in this human, lifelike way. I know it's just actors, people in suits, but still. And it's for that reason, along with the fact that I remember the Backyardigans from my childhood, that I'd be interested in seeing this live-action pilot, what a live-action version of the Backyardigans could look like. I know I went into how it's like kind of unnerving, but I'm sure the plot is as basic and lighthearted and family-friendly as a kid's show could be, but if it's ever leaked in some way, shape, or form, be pretty eager to check it out. Number 2 is SlamFest 99. I'm sure many Lost Media aficionados know about this one, but in case you don't, SlamFest 99 was a promotional event held on April 24th, 1999 at the MGM Grand Adventures theme park in Las Vegas. It was meant to promote the first Super Smash Bros. Game for the Nintendo 64. These guys dressed as Mario, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, and Pikachu, just duking it out in the ring. These costumes came from some commercials that they used to promote the game. You know, the one where they're in the field and the turtle song plays and they're fighting each other. It was live streamed via Real Player G2, and I have no idea what that is. This is what came up on Google Images when I looked it up. Clearly before my time, quite literally because I was born in September of 1999. The live stream has never popped up on the internet since then. I believe some links to it are out there, but if you click them, just leads to an error page. There was actually very little to no evidence online of this live stream till one day this tweet came out, somebody remembered it, and they asked if other people remembered it. And as it goes in the Lost Media community, that started a wide search. Since then, a bunch of photos have come out, mainly coming from articles from gaming magazines, as well as early gaming websites. But otherwise, there is no video footage to be found of this event whatsoever on the internet at the moment. No saved versions of the live stream, and surprisingly no amateur footage either. Which that kind of shocks me. From the look of these photos, there were plenty of people in attendance there. Not one of them had like a 1999 camcorder. Nobody filmed this at all. So it's for that reason, along with the very intense search for this one, that I would love to check out SlamFest 99 if it's ever discovered. Seems like the search has died down a little bit, so hopefully it picks up steam again soon. Somebody out there has to have something, even if it's like 3 seconds like the Me and My Friends clip, there has to be some sort of video out there of this on some hard drive somewhere in somebody's 1999 Windows computer. It has to exist, so fingers crossed that one day this live stream is discovered. Number 3 is the Back to the Future Eric Stoltz footage. As I'm sure all of you know, Back to the Future is a beloved sci-fi classic. This is one of those movies that never gets old to me. I didn't watch it until I was 15 years old, but I just instantly loved it, and I love going back to it. But what you may not know is that the film was almost very different in that Michael J. Fox was not the original casting for Marty McFly. He was the first choice, but he was committed to his show Family Ties at the time, when Back to the Future was set to start filming, so they ended up casting Eric Stoltz in the role instead. He's known for films such as Mask, course, Pulp Fiction. But long story short, 5 weeks into filming, Robert Zemeckis, the director, just felt that something was off, that Stoltz wasn't bringing the comedy to the role in the way that they had wanted, and so he was let go and fired from the film. Around that time, Michael J. Fox's schedule had freed up, and he was able to step in, play Marty McFly. They resumed filming, reshot pretty much everything with Michael J. Fox as Marty, and the rest is history. So with 5 weeks of footage worth, there is obviously no shortage of footage of Eric Stoltz as Marty, but only a handful of it has been released to the public. There's been plenty of photos and videos that have surfaced, but again, 5 weeks of footage. There's clearly way more of it locked in a vault somewhere, potentially a whole movie's worth. On a positive note, the potential of this footage being released is actually kind of hopeful. In a 2015 documentary, Robert Zemeckis said that he did plan on releasing Eric Stoltz's footage in the future, and I actually think there's a really cool way this can be done, similar to what the Snyder Cut did for Justice League. You could do like a Stoltz cut of Back to the Future. Basically, Back to the Future, but Eric Stoltz as Marty. You could do a whole new edit on the movie, maybe even redo the music. Since Eric Stoltz was more focused on turning in a dramatic performance as Marty, maybe make the movie a little bit more dramatic. Would it be better than the original version? Probably not. Would I want it to replace the original version, Star Wars Special Edition style? Absolutely not. But this could be a really interesting companion piece to the original. You know, what Back to the Future could have been, what it almost was. For now though, aside from documentaries and articles, I have no idea what Eric Stoltz's performance as Marty was really like, and I'd be interested in seeing it in its entirety. You know, it'd bring him some closure, as well as those who worked on the film with him for 5 weeks, so hopefully this footage sees the light of day in the near future. Alright, number 4 is the Peeves deleted scenes from Harry Potter. I believe it was just one, but just in case I'll say scenes plural. So I don't think I need to tell you what Harry Potter is. It's easily one of the biggest fantasy franchises out there. The first book, The Sorcerer's Stone, or The Philosopher's Stone, for everybody who's not from the US, came out in 1997, spawned a huge franchise, 6 more books after that, as well as a whole film series based on the books. And anybody who's read the books knows all about Peeves, the poltergeist. He's this crazy prankster, troublemaker. He roams around Hogwarts, just causing all sorts of trouble for the students and the teachers. He's in all of the books, and whenever he shows up, he just chews up the scene, always says and does some crazy stuff. Really hard to miss this guy. And yet, he's in none of the Harry Potter movies. None of them. Not even mentioned. Which I'm sure was a big surprise to fans of the books when the first movie came out in 2001. But what many people may not know is that Peeves actually was set to be in these movies. He was set to be played by the late British actor Rick Mayall. He filmed all his scenes, but they ended up cutting him out of the film. Apparently because he was so funny that the kids playing the Hogwarts students kept laughing every time he performed, every time he opened his mouth, when apparently they were supposed to be afraid of him. So because of that, none of the footage they shot of Rick Mayall as Peeves was usable, so they cut him out of the movie, and he was never brought into any of the subsequent films. What's crazy is that none of the deleted Peeves scenes have ever been released in any form whatsoever. No photos, no videos, despite all of the times that Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone has been released on home media. We're talking VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, any box set of the entire franchise. Not even that recent 20-year reunion they did. They have never released any footage of Rick Mayall as Peeves, not even after his death in 2014. You'd think that maybe they'd release it then to honor his memory, but there's just nothing out there about this one, save for this one piece of concept art, which was allegedly meant for the movie. Not entirely sure about that one though. So hopefully this footage of Rick Mayall as Peeves does see the light of day someday. I'd like to hope it exists in a vault somewhere, and that some producer or some intern didn't delete the footage. As a Harry Potter fan for most of my life, I would really, genuinely like to see this footage someday. But until now, still lost. And finally, number 5, the last one we're going to talk about today. I'm not sure if it counts as lost media in the traditional sense, but if you base it off of the definition of media that's not publicly accessible, no one's seen it, then I think it fits right in. And even then, this one's really intriguing to me. Number 5 is 100 Years. Now what makes this one kind of different is that it is intentionally being kept for the public for a very specific reason. It's also the only one on this list that I actually didn't know about beforehand. The previous 4 I knew about for a while, but this one I discovered when doing the research for this video. So 100 Years is a film directed by Robert Rodriguez. He's known for Sin City, El Mariachi, Desperado, Shark Boy and Lava Girl. The film was written by and also stars John Malkovich. It was filmed in 2015 and it will be released on November 18th, 2115. Hence the title 100 Years and the tagline, the movie you will never see. This one fills me with intrigue, but also dread at the same time. So the backstory here is that John Malkovich and Robert Rodriguez teamed up with Remy Martin, who owns the Louis XIII company that produces cognac. It's a type of brandy for all the non-drinkers out there. And they were tasked with creating a film inspired by the 100 years that it takes to make a bottle of Louis XIII cognac, because apparently that's how long it takes. So once they completed the film, they locked it away in this super high-tech safe, and it will automatically open on November 18th, 2115, the day that the film is supposed to come out. So yeah, we've got about 92 years until 100 Years comes out, so we're on year 8. Give it up for year 8. Woo! Year 8. You know damn well that 100 Years is easily my most anticipated movie of 2115. So a movie that comes out 100 years in the future, that's just sitting in some vault somewhere, definitely fills me with enough intrigue to want to check it out. But like I said, it fills me with dread when I stop and think about it for too long. Like, I'm probably gonna be dead by the time it comes out, and if I'm not, I'll be 116 years old. People who were born in the year it was shot may not be around to see it. And if they do, they'll be a century old. Everyone involved in the making of the film will be dead. People that are being born right now, right this second, may not even live to see it. They've got a better chance than I do, but they'll still be 92, which is pretty old. What are movies gonna look like in the year 2115? Are people gonna remember John Malkovich and Robert Rodriguez? 100 years ago was 1923, and I couldn't name any films or filmmakers in 1923. Apparently, Robert Rodriguez and John Malkovich left tickets to the premiere for their descendants. It's a fun little tidbit. But yeah, it's crazy to think about this one for too long. So if YouTube is still around in November of 2115, please let me know in the comments below what you thought of 100 Years. Probably won't be around to see it, but if I am, I'll be first in line. Alright, so that has been 5 more pieces of lost media that I would love to see. Had a great time making this list, learning about all of these. So God willing, by the time you're watching this video, something about any of these has come out, anything new, even another photo, like any little discovery that is made about intense searches of pieces of lost media is always welcome. As usual, in the comments below, let me know what your favorite piece of lost media is. Let me know one that you really want to see. Like, there's a lot of intriguing ones out there that I've heard about, but I would genuinely kind of want to check out all the ones I just talked about. So let me know which ones that you really want to check out if they ever see the light of day. And of course, if you know something that I don't, or that the public does not, about where to find these, as long as you're not under any legal obligation, just drop it in an email, a link, or something. In all seriousness, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Keep an eye out for more. Please subscribe, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Stay frosty, all you beautiful people, and have a great one.